Hey gang, it's Jeff from Photo Finish Restorations, and on this episode of Muscle Cars and Hot Rods, we're going to get final sand on Cindy's 1968 Chevrolet Camaro, so check it out. Also take a quick trip up to Barrett-Jackson, had a good time. Notice Anna and I with bidders passes at Barrett-Jackson, courtesy of Ed Blackford, my cousin, and JJ Sanchez, executive producer of the Fireball Run Adventure Rally. Thanks a lot, guys. That was a lot of fun. Alright gang, we're back on our 68 Chevrolet Camaro, Cindy's Camaro. Let's take a look at that color we shot on the jams out in the sun. Check that out. Looks pretty good, doesn't it? So, we got all our jams painted, and I'm just sitting here sanding down the dash because we're going to put our white pearl on the dash. It's going to get it ready, but I'm also going to begin hanging the doors and everything. We got our shipment in from Classic Industries, got a bunch of moldings in. We'll see if we can't get those mocked up before paint. So that's where we're at. Now we've gone ahead and sanded out the dash with our mini DA and 400 grit sanding paper. We've also gone ahead and masked off the entire cowl so we can get our flat black sprayed in there. But to maximize our time on the bench, we're going to go ahead and fit our wheel opening moldings into the car. So we got our OER wheel opening moldings in. I've gone ahead and clamped it into place, got it fit nicely, and we're going to take our center punch and an 1/8 inch drill, get our holes drilled before we paint the car. And then, just to be super anal, and because we can, we'll go ahead and put the fasteners in. Okay, I gotta get a video of some of the stupid stuff car guys will do. How's this on your sick bastard car chart? We just washed the bottom of our base clear 1957 Ford Thunderbird before we put it on the chassis. You can put that in your Barrett-Jackson pipe and smoke it.
What is this frickin', are we in the rain center? Are we in Washington or something?
Last look at the bottom of the car.
That was nice.
Hope it was worth it. Alright, well here, now that we're taking some tape of this stuff, I might as well get the freshly built chassis from Motorsports Unlimited.
Don't forget, delivered by Seth Photo Finish.
Seth went and picked it up.
Impressive.
So we've got the restored 57 Ford Thunderbird chassis. And somehow, without any major screw-ups, we gotta put that car over there on it. Yeah, I wouldn't settle for a minor screw-up, you're right. There it is though, it looks pretty cool.
salsa in my teeth.
Yeah. See you wanted a picture with your card?
Yeah.
Okay, here's the thing. This video's been all over the place. Lots of stuff happening. I don't even know where we're at. I'll have to load some stuff up on the computer tonight. See what kind of video we're putting together. But let's just take a quick look at what's been happening. I went through and 220 blocked this body line. There's a couple discrepancies I noticed and I figured I'd better address before a final block. So 220, hit it with a little bit of 320 and put 2 light coats of primer on it. Then I've gone through and completely guide coated the car, and now we are trying something new. This is the first time, well, in a long while, that I've dry blocked a car. So we're going to start with 320. We're going to go through with our Dura blocks and 320 block the entire car, and then we'll probably clean up our 320 grit scratches with some 500. But that's down the line. Let's go ahead and start sanding. So surprise, surprise, Jeff sanding on the car again. Again, we're going over it with our 320, our final block before we clean it up with some 500 grit, mask it up and paint it. Let's go ahead and talk a little bit about why we're switching to 320. Let's see, it's not so much that we're switching to 320 and 500 for the grade, it's that we're switching processes. I'm gonna try to not wet sand a car, and the reason that I'm gonna do that is because I don't like it when water gets down into the car and gets down in between those pinch welds, and we all know what water does to steel. So yeah, I think that the actual wet process itself, while it might be good for the finish, isn't necessarily good for the car, and therefore not necessarily good for the whole process. We've dry sanded cars before. We know how it is. In fact, our collision guy dry preps every car. Let's talk about some of the, let's say, disadvantages. Some people will say that 400 and 600 wet will give a better retention or better holdout or better gloss in your clear. That may be true, but this car will be completely cut down and show finished. So I mean, if you're gonna completely cut and buff the clear coat anyway, how much does shine and holdout retention, how much does that matter? I don't think it's gonna matter all that much. I think I'll probably end up with a cleaner paint job because we all know that after I got done wet sanding these cars, I'd have to give the car a bath. But even that doesn't get all that sanding residue that gets down into the cracks and dries out of the car. And what is dry sanding residue? It's dust, it's dirt, it's stuff that's gonna get into your paint job. With this dry method, I'll just be able to blow the heck out of it and it'll all pretty much leave the car. So again, like I said, we always try new things, we always try to improve ourselves, we always try to make the job a little bit better, and this is the one I'm choosing for this car. Let's take a look at what it looks like up close. Here we are up close. You can see that I've used my dry guide coat. When you're dry sanding, I like the dry guide coat because if I were to spray base coat on here lightly as my guide coat, it's a little bit harder for this dry paper to sand out. It wants to tend to clog up the paper. Also, you'll notice, you know, that's just after a few swipes, so I keep a brush on hand and I keep the paper clean. That was another advantage to wet, was it kept the paper clean. And And then of course, like you always see me do, I tape off all my body lines so that I can get a nice sharp line. But having said that, let's remember that when a Camaro goes into the finish shop, I don't want it to come to a point. So by hand, when I'm doing my 500, I'll just roll over that line like that and just knock down the peak of that body line so that it's not so sharp. And here's another thing I like about the dry sanding method. This is my straight block. This baby is straight. And this is our straightest panel on the thing. I can use this rather than, you know, my wet sanding block because it's adhesive, same type of paper. We're back on our 68 Chevy Camaro, Cindy's Camaro. What you're looking at here is the entire car has been 320 blocked at this point. I then put a little bit of over-reduced primer in a gun, and everywhere I had a sand through, kind of like something like this, not a sand through to metal, but just a sand through to a lower epoxy coat. Obviously I'm not saying everywhere because there's these two places, but everywhere there was a little bit, I put one coat of a little bit reduced primer on it. Then, what you see on the roof is I've gone ahead and used my dry guide coat again. This product right here. And I rubbed that on the roof. Now I have to go through with 500 grit and take out all my 320 scratches. This is my 500 grade sanding paper, and then I just take one of these blocks right here, a dual density, it says wet sanding block. This side right here is a little bit softer than this side right here. You can see the division. It's dirty now, but that's actually black and that's gray. I'm gonna take this, I'm gonna put it on the gray side, and I'm gonna start sanding the roof out for paint. Let's take a closer look at the 500 grit scratch sanding. So we got our 500, we got our soft block, we've got our guide coat, we've got our blower close, and we're going to start to sand in this area. Keep just normal soft pressure, nothing too major, and start to sand. That's how I do it. When I hear a little piece of dirt or something, I don't grind it into the surface. I blow the area and blow off my paper. And we are looking to get rid of, see if we can focus here. Those scratches right there. And right there's a look at the shine of our final sand. Now we just got to run across this whole car with the 500 grit. So that's going to do it for this here episode of Muscle Cars and Hot Rods. We'll catch you on the next one.